If you own a home on Jupiter Island right now, the market probably feels a little confusing. You are seeing homes listed at 20, 30, even $40 million. You're also seeing a lot of those same homes sit for months. I'm Camerlinck with Taiter Realty. I pull the MLS data for Jupiter Island every week. I track what comes on, what goes pending, what closes, and what does not sell. Right now, there's a major difference between where sellers are pricing and where buyers are actually closing. So I really wanted to go in and delve into the numbers here. So here's the current picture. There are 21 active listings in this data set. There are 4 recently closed sales. There is a lot of inventory competing for a very small number of actual buyers. The average active listing is asking over $20 million. The average closed sale is around $12.4 million. That's a huge spread. It does not mean that every home asking over $20 million is overpriced. It just means that buyers are being selective. They're not paying based on what another seller hopes to get. They are paying based on the property, the alternatives, and the evidence. The active listing has been on the market for the average active listing has been on the market for almost 5 months. Look at Harbor Way, over 400 days. Look at 488 South Beach, more than 235 days at $45 million. At this level, days on markets matter. The longer a home sits, the more questions it creates. Buyers start asking why it is not traded, then they start assuming sellers may be willing to negotiate. That is where leverage starts shifting away from the seller. This is the gap in one chart. Active sellers are asking around $20 million. Buyers are closing around $12 million. That is an $8.2 million difference between the average ask and the average close. The closed sales on the right are what matters. 30 Gomez closed at $9.6 million. 398 South Beach closed at $18.8 million. Those are actual transactions. An active listing is just an asking price. A closed sale is proof of what the buyer is willing to pay. I understand most of these sellers probably don't need to sell. They have plenty of money. They may have more into these homes than they may have hoped, and that's why they're asking the figures that they want. Or their new construction, the builders need to squeeze as much margin out as possible. There are also a lot of carrying costs going on the beach, so yeah, they probably did spend a lot of money holding the home over the years. But if your goal is to truly sell and sell within a realistically time frame, then you really need to pay attention to these closed comps here in these charts. Here are 3 listings that failed to sell. They were expired or withdrawn. It does not mean that they were bad properties. It just means that the market did not accept the pricing and the positioning as it was presented. This is the part that sellers need to understand. Marketing help gets attention, and I'm not going to argue it is very, very important in listing a home, especially of this caliber, but it does not create value that is not there. You can have great photography, great videos, great broker outreach, but if the pricing is materially above what buyers are willing to justify, then they're just going to wait. What separates the homes that close from the ones that sit? Well, as is pretty clear, pricing. Second is positioning. At this price point, as I mentioned, marketing is very, very important. Because there are only so many buyers that can afford an asset of this type, of this caliber, marketing is important in that you reach those people and you market in ways that are going to be seen by those people. The lot, the water, the privacy, the view, the architecture, the boat access, the location, you need to be able to explain and show the important and just show those amazing qualities of the property. Especially on Jupiter Island, they're going to have some of the best waterfront views, the best architecture, the best boat access, and obviously the best location. So if you cannot show that or go with an agent that doesn't know how to market in a way that's going to expose those views and expose the positive qualities of the property, then that's a huge downside for your property. And I touched on it briefly, but exposure to the right buyers is very important. You don't want to sell a $20 million home by putting it online and hoping that it lands on the desk of someone wealthy. You need direct broker outreach, specifically to brokers that work in this asset type and in this price point. You need targeted marketing and private conversations with wealth advisors, insurance companies, insurance agents, attorneys, anyone that's in the circle of these wealthy people that might be interested in a home like this. You need to know who to reach out to and be connected with them. So how would I approach this strategy? What would I do differently? I always focus in on the data, so that's where I'll start. I identify where the home actually fits within the market. Where does your home stack up against the other listings on the market? Then we build the positioning around what makes it different. We actively work the property. We do not just upload it to MLS and wait. It's a top of the priority list, especially a home of this caliber. It's going to get the most attention from me and my team, and we're going to work every day until this property gets sold. I'm not going to pretend that everything's all right, or if we have bad feedback, I'm not going to lie and pretend that everything's just going to keep going well and that's going to get sold any day now. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to share the expectations, share the feedback that we get through buyers, and position you in a way to most likely get the home sold. So if you own a home on Jupiter Island right now, what does this all mean for you? First, if you're thinking about selling your house, which given there's so limited amount and not many come on the market that often, there's the chance that you want to sell is probably slim. But if you were going to, do not price your home based on the highest active listing that you see. Active listings are competition and closed sales are evidence. So if you need some closed sales data, you could reach out to me, but I'm sure most of you guys are probably familiar with what's closing in and around your neighborhood. Second, if your home has been sitting, buyers are telling you something, take it as feedback that maybe your home is a little overpriced. If you're getting the showings and you're getting the traffic in the door, but they're not writing anything or putting numbers on paper, it's usually a sign that the home's a little overpriced. Every property on Jupiter Island is different, so you cannot just compare each comp apples to apples. They're all going to be a little different. They're all in different locations on the island. Some of them are closer to town, some of them are farther south, some of them are farther north, some of them have beach access, some have intercoastal access, and some even have neither. So you need to come creative when you price properties like this, and the numbers need to be specific to your property and not just hone in on the exact number that another neighbor got. You have a lot of options when it comes to who you hire. Here's why clients call me. I'm local, I understand this market, the competing inventory, and the details that actually matter to buyers here. I also look at real estate through a finance lens. I do not just tell you what sounds good. I look at the comparable sales, the active competition, the buyer pool, and what has to be true for pricing to make sense. Then I give you a direct answer based on data rather than how I feel or my opinions on the property. I'm going to do it through the data that's in front of me. That way I can give you an educated, detailed opinion. And I'm going to tell you what it takes to get the property sold with no fluff, no crap, and just straight to the point. If you own any property on Jupiter Island and want to know where your property actually stands in today's market, call or text me directly. I'll pull all the relevant sales, the current competition, and I'll give you a written opinion of value within 48 hours. There's no pressure in this. There's no, you have to list with me if I do this. This is a service that I offer to all of my clients, and it's going to be a very detailed report, not some generic estimate. It's just a real analysis of where your property would fit in today's market should you go to market. If you're interested in more data like this, subscribe to my channel or reach out to me directly. I'll add you to my newsletter where I reach out weekly with important data that may affect you and your family.